G'day folks, in this video I'm going to show you how to solve this 2x4x6. I'm going to take you through every possible thing you'll need and make it a very clear and step-by-step process for you. You'll be loving it at the end. And a few things to say before I start. First thing, if you haven't got this cube, if you're umming and ahhing about it, I implore you to buy it. It is a fantastic price for what it is, $34 US, and for the price of a puzzle, it's all about the value you get out of it. In other words, if you pay $34 for something and it takes you 2 minutes to solve, maybe not that great value. This is difficult. This puzzle is difficult. Make no mistake. So this is well worth getting. As always, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to do that. If you're thinking about it, great puzzle. Even if you're a beginner, it is always good to have these things that are harder than normal. The next thing, in my unboxing of this, I made note of a couple of issues with the stickers, and one of the issues you may remember was this one here. There's a bit peeling off. That's completely peeled off now, so that's not quite a square sticker. One other issue I did make note of was, and I'm just trying to find the sticker it was on, I can't even see it anymore. Let's have a look here. Oh, there it is. That sticker there, it had a little corner peeling back, and you may be able to see just at the top there, I've actually super glued that down so you almost can't see it. This sticker here, it's probably impossible to see unless I manage to get the light perfectly shone, which I doubt it. It actually has Calvin's puzzle. That was the sticker with the gold writing on it. That's completely come off. That always happens with the Calvin's puzzle logo over the top. The H here is still massively on, no problem. I have played with this thing a lot, and these stickers look fantastic. I have no problem with the stickers apart from these corners. I do not understand the reason for these corners, and my thought, and I haven't been able to do it because I don't have the sticker paper to do it. If you got one of these stickers and kind of twisted it round and put it over here so it came, the curved part came like that and then it went down like that, it would look like a beautifully stickered piece. I don't understand why they didn't do that. That would be my recommendation for fixing the stickers, and I actually think it would end up sticking a little bit better as well, and it would look much better. Okay, enough with that. You're going to need essentially one algorithm for this solve. Now, let me just back that up a little bit. Let's have a look at this cube here, or this cuboid in fact. When I say one algorithm, everybody knows what the edge piece series is. It's just the 4-move, 1-1 commutator, whatever you want to call it. It's like a front, right, prime, front, prime, right. So if I was going to do it on this, that's what it would be. And generally on a cube, on this one we don't, but on a cube we move around edges. So that's a simple thing. I almost don't count that as an algorithm. If you want to count it as an algorithm, that's fine. And I'm saying, okay, you'll need really two. The other one you'll need, and this is going to be your friend all through this solve, is what I call the corner piece series for cuboids. And I've got a couple of cuboids in here to demonstrate it on. It's very important that you understand what this does before we get into solving this, because you're going to use it all through the solve. But that's pretty cool that we really only need one algorithm to do it. Let's have a look at this on a solved puzzle. Let's carry out that corner piece series for cuboids. Here it goes. It's an upturn, right 2, and that's why I call it for cuboids. We can't just do a right for a normal corner piece series because we can't turn it. So right 2, up prime, left 2, and then we repeat that. Alright, that's it. Incredibly simple. Let's have a look what's happened on this. We've got movement of 3 pieces, just those 3 pieces. You'll notice the first thing, the green, white, orange has come from up here. So the piece that's in the up, back, left has rolled down to there. The next thing is the piece that was here, the green, red, yellow, has gone here. It's actually rolled across to there, like that. So this one rolls to here, this one rolls to here, this one goes back up to there. Now, that's on a normal cuboid. What about this sort of thing where it shapeshifts? Because that's what we're going to be dealing with here, a shape-shifting type approach. Well, I want to show you something. The pieces are exactly the same. The movement is the same, but now I want us to think about what's going on. The 3 pieces here are that one, and that one. What's going to happen? This one will roll down into that position and place properly. This one here, which is sticking out, will roll. What will happen when it rolls? It'll actually roll into its correct position. This one's the only one we don't really know about. But of course, it's not going to be possible to have one piece sticking out and the other not. So here we go. Let's do it. Up, right 2, up prime, left 2. Up, right 2, up prime, left to, but you can see it's the same sort of thing. Look at that. So what that tells us is that when we're coming to this puzzle to solve things and to flatten things, we're always looking for not only the piece movement, the actual pieces, but we're looking for, when things are sticking out, the ability to put them down and to move them into the position we want, not just colour, but actual shape. And that'll make much more sense as we go through. Thought that was important to get out of the way. Now, a couple of things I am going to do, take you through a proper scramble to make sure you know how to scramble it well. And the other thing is I'm almost certainly going to have a separate video, which I'll link to. If I do have that, I'll link to it in the description, and I'll probably put it up on the top of the screen right about now, a link to it, where you can see me, perhaps, 2 or 3 different attempts at returning to cuboid shape. Because I'll do one in this video. That may be a hard one, it may be an easy one. But that's the biggest problem with this puzzle, is getting it back to cuboid shape. Once it's back to cuboid shape, it's quite a bit easier. Well, it's not easy, but you know what I'm saying. So there almost should be, almost certainly, a separate video for that. Now, when scrambling, let's get onto the scramble. The first thing you want to do is just scramble everything 180. So no 90-degree turns yet, nothing like that. We'll just do 180 turns. Slices are fine, double slices, whatever you want, until you're happy with it. And your happiness level may be different than mine. I mean, I'd probably look and say I'd like to get them apart, but at the end of the day, things like that, it's going to get pretty scrambled as it is. I'm looking at that and going, I'm nearly happy. As a 180 worth of scramble, no, that's pretty good. Okay, when you've got that, then you want to turn this 4x6 face 90 degrees and start 180ing on the other axes. So that's an example of that. You can do multiple slices. You can do, we'll do another 90 on the 4x6. You can do just single slices if you want. Whatever your heart desires. Do another 90, and again, that's just a matter of how much you want to do that before you're comfortable with its scrambling level. Maybe I'll do that. Like I say, I've done a lot of solves of this thing, and sometimes you can scramble and scramble and scramble, and you end up with a return to cuboid shape that is pretty easy. And sometimes you don't scramble much at all, and it's a very difficult one. So I'm happy with that. Once you've got that done, and you'll find now that some of these, you can't turn that because it's got no backing, you now are able to start going, alright, well, let's just do some 90s here. Perhaps I'll do something like that, and now just go for it. And you can always turn on the inner 2x2 puzzle, that's no problem. Sometimes you'll be still able to turn slices, and if that happens, you want to try and make it so that you can't turn those slices. If I come across a situation like that, I'll show you. This is still the scramble, remember? So it's all 90s now. And again, it's up to you. Forgot one here? No, I haven't. It's up to you as to how much or little you end up scrambling this thing. When you're happy with it, you can start solving. So this is about what I'm looking for. I don't know. What do you reckon? I'm happy with that. That's a decent scramble. Now, as I said at the start, I'm going to take you through this in, what is the word I'm looking for? As logical and clear a manner as I can, a very step-by-step approach. So if you follow what I'm doing, you will be able to solve yours as well. Video is probably going to be a little longer than my normal videos because it is a fairly involved puzzle. So let's get to it. Alright, well, the first thing we want to do is obviously return it to cube shape. There's steps within that. So the very first thing is get all the outer corners so that they are not solved in position, but just all as if they were solved shape-wise. So for instance, If I say that and that are two corners there, that's a third one. I'm going to go and place a fourth one that matches those. And to do that, I'm just going to look to the bottom, turn the bottom around like that, and keep turning until I've got a corner that can be turned up just with simple moves. And you can see that if I turn that white-red corner up like that, the red will be on this side, the green will be at the front, which will match. The green blues are on the same side, and the red oranges are on the same side. So I turn it up just with 4 moves like that, as if I was placing a corner on a 2x2 cube, because essentially at the moment that's all we're doing. Now you can see on that face all 4 corners are ready to go. Let's turn it over and see what's going on the other face. Well, if I turn that round to there, I can see that that corner matches up. Okay, I've got the other 3 which don't. This is a fairly standard thing. I want to make the other 3 look like those corners as well. How am I going to do that? Well, the first thing that I can see is that I can do a corner piece series for cuboids. I'm just going to call that a corner piece series from now on. That will roll this one over to there. And this is what I was talking about with this cuboid in terms of the shape. If I was to do it so that it moved this to here, the rolling here would be across. In other words, it would take that like that. You'll notice the white's on the top, the green's on the front. Notice that's the same thing. White, yellow on top, green on front. So that would actually help me out. So I'm going to do that to start off with. This time it's the mirror of the one I showed. So it's an up anti-clockwise, then a left 2, and an up clockwise, then a right 2, and then repeat. Okay, now when that happens, it's going to initially just, it's going to look like it's taken corners out. So you just look at it and say there's 2 there, let's find another 2. There's a couple on this side, so we'll go and turn that around and bring them back and have a look at the other side again. What have we got now? We've got this one still here. We want to now have a look and see that this, if this rolled across to here, that would put the blue on the front here, which would match up with that. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to roll this across to here in the same way. There we go. Let's have a look again. We'll put those. Okay, we've got one face of 4 corners correct. Now we've got 2 there. Let's have a think about the other 2. Sometimes the other 2 will roll, one more corner piece series will get them in, sometimes not. So you just look and see, will this one work? No, that's not going to have it line up. What about if I went this way? No, that's not going to work either. So what that means is you just do a corner piece series to position these differently, because what's going to happen is you're always from now on going to have 2 that are matching. So we'll do a CPS. Let's see what we've got. We'll put 4 on one side again, so we'll grab those. Did I get 4 on one side? I did. And okay, here's the 2. Now let's have a look. I've got 2 left. Now can I make them roll into their position? And by the way, if you're wondering, I'm not floundering here. This is a very, very step-by-step logical approach. You can see now that I've got this one that's going to roll across, and the orange will go to that side, which is the red piece there. So I know that this is now positioned ready to go. But you remember that I wanted 2 down here sticking out. So all I'm going to do is turn the other one, which was this one, and bring it around next to it like that. Now we can clearly see that that would roll to there, and this is going to go up, but the one up the top will come down to here. So we're now in a position where we can carry it out again. Let's have a look what we've got. On this face we've got these 4 corners sticking up like that, and on this face we've got exactly the same thing. That is our first mini goal completed. Now the reason we're trying to do that, to get those corners sort of in that flattened state, is to get maximum turnage through these slices. Now let's see if I can do it. Oh, look at that. Now, 2 slices here are already where I want them to be, so individual turning. This one you can see is not going to be because it's got this sort of piece here. So the next mini step is to turn any perpendicular pieces so that I can get all 4 layers turning. So this is what I would call a perpendicular piece here. The way that I'm going to do that is to try and put these centery sort of pieces next to them and then turn and then move them off if I can. And let's see if that, let's see what I've got now for turnage. And I've got a cup, I've got one here. So I'm going to, this is the only part of the solve that's very, very slightly, just have a look, have a think, and see if you can get it working. Now, at this stage, you'll notice that I've just managed to get 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 individual slices turning. Now, that is what I'm aiming for. You might think, hang on a minute, but the corners are like that. Well, it doesn't matter. I could do it with these. I could get these turning if I wanted to, but as long as I have 4, it's okay, because now that I've got these 4, my next mini step is to get all centers in position. How am I going to do that? I'm going to use the corner piece series for cuboids. So I can see here that there's 2 center pieces. I want these 2 to be centers as well. Let's have a think. I know that if this one on that slice was to come across, that white centerpiece would be here and the green would be out there. So in other words, that piece would place into a correct position to be a centerpiece. I also know that I can move this one around to match it up there. So I'm actually going to do that like that, because this one at the back is the one that will come down to there as well. So now you'll see what I mean. I've got 4 turnable slices here. So what I want to do now is just involve these slices when I do my corner piece series. So I turn my upper turn, but just that slice, then right 2, up anti-clockwise, just that slice, left 2, and repeat. Finish that off. Let's have a look what we've got. We've got those 2 bits in the center. On the other side, we've got all 4 center pieces. So now it's just, if I can rotate the cube, it's just these 2. These are in correct position. This will roll across to here. This is the sticky out one. These 2 are the sticky out ones from this cube. And so now I can carry that out again. Again, just turning the upper slice. Oh, look at this. It's beautiful. We've now got all 4 center pieces. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 turnable that way, 1, 2, 3, 4 turnable that way. That is the next main stage. After that, what we want to do is fix up any corners that have been knocked out so they're rotated. Now on that face we don't have any, and on that face we don't have. So if you want to see more examples of that, have a look at the other video that I'll almost certainly have made. And the final part of returning to cube shape is to group my edges. Now you can see they're grouped, that's not. So what have I got? I've actually only got 2 of them that need to be grouped. So you can see that those 2 and those 2, if I turn them together, it's going to fix those 2, but it's going to put 2 others out. So what do I need to happen? Well, they've got to be the same type. So I've got to have, if I've got a white, blue, white, green there, I've got to have a blue, green set here as well. Can I find there's a blue, green set. So I'm going to put that into that position before I start. Like that. Now, when I turn and group these 2 edges, the other 2 will stay where they are, and you can see, yep, sure, the corners are now sticking out a bit, but I've got all edges grouped. The very last thing is to now place the grouped edges. Notice that I haven't tried to solve any of the edges. I'm just returning it to cube shape. I want to say, well, red, orange pieces need to go together, so let's put those 2 together. I've got 2 on the side which are blue, green. At the end I need red, orange, and I've got an orange here, so that has got to go on the end here, and this one has got to go to here. Now I can't just swap them, so what I'll do is 3 cycle with an edge piece series, just so that to there, this one to here, this one to here. And that tells me the direction that I'm doing it. That's done. You can see both of the orange bits are on the ends. All the green and blue bits are on the sides. And now I've just got these corners to flatten. Well, how do I do that? Well, here we go. Corner piece series. Remember that I've got these two sticking out. And that's going to go into there. And this one will go up to the top. So once again, exactly the same algorithm. Up, right 2, up prime, left 2, and repeat. I'm going to sound like a broken record in this solve, but essentially that's what's going on. One algorithm really through the whole thing. And look at that, we're back to cuboid shape. Not too challenging. I have had solves that are harder than that, so I definitely will make another video. Make sure I get a difficult one in there, a really difficult one. But that has completed the first main phase of the solve. The next thing we're going to do is to start reducing our edges. And in like fashion, there's a technique, a specific order that I do it in, so I'm going to take you through that. The first thing I'm going to do is reduce these green and blue edges. Now I see that I've got the yellow blue ones already, so I've got 3 left here. So what I might as well do for the 3 is to use all 3 of them, and I'm going to reduce it the same as I'd reduce centers on, edges on something like a 4x4 or a 5x5 cube. So we're going to bring them together. Let me actually bring them together so it looks right. For example, bring them together, turn them off onto another face, and then return the slices. Note here that I'm deliberately not trying to solve the centers. That is going to be the very, very last thing we do in the whole solve. There's a very good reason for that as well. So I've got, if I want to do the green yellows, let's say I'll have that there, I'll have the other one 180 degrees apart, and let's put this one over onto the side face. Okay, now I'm going to bring the green yellow up to there, going to turn it off and replace it with the one that I put over here, like that, and then return 180. Let's see what's happened. The white greens have come back, the white blues have come back, the green yellow we just made, and where's the other one? The blue yellows. They're all done now. So those first sets of edges are reduced. But what's happened here? Well, that's no big deal. This is going to happen most of the time. We now just go and put back any of the other edges that are done. We actually don't need to do it at this stage, but I'm going to do it anyway in case you want to keep things looking nice, and that's as simple as that. Just always a 3 or 4 move routine to get that done. So you can see, looking around here, these blue and green edges have now been reduced. Well, the next thing to do is to reduce the yellow and white pieces that are not the center pieces. So these are the centers, these are actually part of the edges, and I count them as part of the edges because if you look at where those 2 pieces turn, if I turn them 90 degrees, they go there. Now what was there? Those 2. So these bits are actually kind of corresponding with those bits there. So that's why I want to reduce them next, and I'm not going to worry about the end bits yet. Do that a little bit later. So how do I reduce the white and yellows? Well, you can see that I've got a couple done already. So I look at the other 2, and I'm going to place them 180 degrees apart, and then I'm going to look to bring that yellow up to there, and then I'm going to turn it off, replace it with something, and then bring it back. So here's my question. If I bring this yellow up to the top, what's going to come back is going to go next to a white. That tells me that the third piece that I want to use needs to be a completed white piece so that it will make that when it comes back. There's a completed white piece right there. Now I'm going to turn the left layer, so I'm going to put the completed white piece over on the right here. So turn it off, down, and return that. So that completed white piece is there, ready to be used. Okay, so I make the yellow one here, replace that yellow one with my completed white one. And for completeness, I'll do that turn as well. And then bring back this left-hand layer, and you remember that that is from that completed white piece. It turns back, that one's made, and in fact, there's the other yellow. and there's the yellow we just made. Alright, good. So let's now return to cube shape. We do need to return to cube shape for the next part, which is these edges, or cuboid shape. So once again, that's my orange end. Let's move that to there. So the direction will be this to here, this to here, this to here. Here we go. And now we've just got some corners to flatten. You know exactly what we're going to use for that. Done. Let's take stock and have a look. None of these were damaged, so the blues and the greens are all done. The whites and the yellows, those inner whites and yellows parts, they are all done. Now we're up to the stage of reducing these here. Now there's a couple of things that could happen when you get this. One thing, and I'll just see what I've got going here, there is a possibility that you could get two swaps. In other words, the white red and the white orange could be mirrored on another one, perhaps over here, white red, white orange. In this case they're not. If that happened, what you would do is, because you would want to turn up the white red to the white orange, and in fact, you know what, instead of talking about it, I might even set up for it. So let's deal with this one, and then I'll set up for that and show you exactly how to do it. It's the easiest of the lot, actually. What have we got here? Well, I'll just start. I'm going to make these. So I'm going to start with my white red. Where's another white red? So I want to have the other white red 180 degrees apart from that white red so that I can turn it on. Alright, now I'm going to turn it on. What do I want to replace it with? Well, something else that's not already done. So I'm going to again put this one over to the side, like that. Okay, so here it is down here, ready to be used. And you'll notice at the moment that it cannot turn. Just that part there cannot turn, only the two layers. The really cool thing is it's about to change. So I'm going to move the white red up to join it onto the other white red. Now, as I replace it with this, I'm going to turn it across, and here's the key, just now this is matched up. You can turn the outer only. So just turn the outer, and then turn it back, and then bring back the centers so that the whites and yellows that we've previously done stay done. What have I just accomplished? There's the white reds brought together. Actually also managed to bring the white oranges together. Didn't mean to, but it's happened. Now, as usual, I'm going to put it back into cube shape. So I keep saying cube, you know what I mean, cuboid. You can see the white reds are now done. Those white oranges are done. We've got red, yellow, yellow, orange, yellow, orange. We've actually got a swap of two sets here. Now, before I deal with that, I want to show you the other scenario that I was talking about, and I'm just going to set up for that quite quickly now. Alright, well there's actually two scenarios that I've thought of. Here's one of them, not the one I was thinking of, I'll do that in a minute. Here's another one. We've got one of these already done, the white orange is already done, and we've got the other three that are yet to be done. So we do that to finish them off. We place any two of them that can join, so that white red, let's turn this, making sure that we turn both the inner slices. So we'll turn that white red is ready to go and join there. This is the third piece now, so we'll turn that off like that. We'll join it up, and again moving it over and now replacing it just with the outer layer. And the reason for doing that is so that it's not going to disturb the yellow and white inners here that we've already done. We'll turn it back, bring them back, and you can see the whites come back. When we would return that to cube shape, you can see that all the white, orange, the reds and the orange pieces are done, and these other ones are still done. Let me return that to cube shape and set up for the second to last scenario. Alright, well here we've got the white inners and the yellow inners all done, and we've got all four of our outer edges not done, but we notice that the white orange and, sorry, that's white red and white orange are on the same, well they're together, and the white red and white orange are together over here. Now that means the other two, the yellow pieces, will also be together. And what I'd like to do is turn that white orange up to that white orange there, because I know that the white red, when I turn it, will come back down next to this white red. So the only thing I need to check before I do that, and I'll just demonstrate what happens if I don't. If I was to turn them up, you can see all of the outers are now placed, but the inner white and yellow pieces are not. And so what that means is before I start, if I've got a white here, I also want a white 180 degrees apart. So I just turn that inner slice around, and now when I turn that, the inner yellows and whites remain connected and the outers also remain connected. Now let's have a look at the final stage, which is what we had right at the beginning, which was 2 left to go. Okay, well here on this end we've got 2 sets of outer edges completed, and on the other end we've got 2 that need to swap. Now we can't 3-cycle them. In other words, we could put this 180 degrees away from that, but we've got no other pieces that we can use as a third piece, which is not yet done. So I don't know if you want to call this a parity or not. I don't have a clue what any parities are. I just solve it as I see it. So here's what you do to deal with 2 swapped outer edges. You simply turn the bottom or the top inner slice 1 turn, as in 90 degrees. For instance, just that slice like that. That has fixed the problem. Now, the only thing I need to do is return it to cuboid shape, and clearly I don't mean just doing that. That's going to unfix the fixed problem. So I turn that slice 1 turn, and now I think to myself, thinking back to here, what about the movement? Well, if I just do the corner piece series on using the top face as my upper face, the inner slice, it's going to push this one over to here. In other words, it's going to roll that inner slice across to there. But what's going to happen is I'm going to 3-cycle them across, and so I've broken the problem that I have. So now I just turn the inner slice up and then right 2. Inner slice anti, left 2. You can see it's precisely the same algorithm. Inner slice up, right 2, inner slice anti, left 2. You can see that's dealt with. Put them back here. What about over this side? We'll turn the thing over and we've got exactly the same deal. We've got to flatten these 2. And finish that off. Finishing it off is important because it brings back these blue and green pieces. Let's take stock. Okay, what that's done first of all is it has mucked up 2 of these, so we'll fix them up. Let's do that first. We've got, once again, the white's got to go up to here and it's going to return to a yellow, so I need my third piece involved to be a yellow completed, which is over here. So I'm just going to put that on the right for now. Alright, so bring the whites up, replace it with this yellow. So I'm going to turn this to here, and this will go down to the bottom. Undo that turn. You can see those inner pieces, those inner whites and yellows are now back. Let's return to cuboid shape. What do we need to do? We need to get first of all like that, and then we've got some corners to flatten. So we kind of do, in fact, no, I haven't returned it to cuboid shape at all yet. I haven't even done these edges. Let's do that properly. We've got to get both. Man, that was a long way around. Put that one in first, and then the other one is over here. Okay. And having done it properly, the corners are already flattened anyway. Right, now, remember we had 2 of these to swap. We had like a red, white, and a red, yellow, or whatever it was that needed to swap. So we did the fix. We've dealt with the inner white and yellow parts. The blues and greens are still together. Now what have we got? 1, 2, 3. Oh, look at that. We've got a 4th one that's already done, and we've got 3 pieces that need to go together. So we just find 2 of them. Let's do the white reds, bring that one up to there. My third piece is this one, which needs to be placed on the side. And now I can bring that white red up to create that pair. replace it with my third piece, and again just turning the outer slice here. Undo, return centers, and we'll see that the red yellows are done, the white oranges are done, the white reds are done, the orange yellows are done. So all that's left now is to put it back to cuboid shape. Let's see if I can do that better than I did the last time. I think I can. That's done. Right, now that means that at this stage all of our edges have been reduced. We've got all of these together, and you'll agree so far that, well, I hope you'll agree, that's fairly painless. So what's the next stage? Well, it's to place our reduced edges. Now you'll notice that I still haven't done the centers, but I've just got to keep the color scheme in mind. For example, I always like to think, well, okay, if white's on top, red's on the left, blue's on the right. The first thing I'm going to do is it's just going to choose an arbitrary face to be my white center. This will be my white face. Okay, if that's, I'm going to make that a white blue. Where is my white blue piece? Turn that up, that must be yellow blue. This has got to be white green, yellow green. So those center ones are done. What's the next thing I want to do? Well, if this is the white face, I want to turn the other two white pieces up to there, those two. So I've got whites and I've got yellows on the yellow face, and I've got that strip around there is now done apart from the centers. Now I've got to think, well, if this is white blue, the corner that I found says that if the blue's on the right, the red's on the left. So here's white blue, so this must be a white red. So it's over here. I'll just put it over there with an edge piece series, and that retains this middle strip. Got the white red, the yellow red in place. What's going on over here? Well, the beauty of it now, even though I've got two of these to swap, all I need to do is turn them. And what you can see now is that there's a band all around here. There's a band all around here that is now done. And those edges have now been placed. The next stage of this solve is to solve what I'm calling the inner corners, which are these bits here. Now you'll never guess what I'm going to use to solve them. That's right, the corner piece series for cuboids. Here's what we do. What I do is I'd find a face if I can that's already got a couple on it. So I've got the yellow blues here already. I'm not concerned with the outer pieces. I'll turn it around and say, oh, this has got to be a yellow green. Let's find a yellow green. I can tell which is the correct one, that it's this one and not that one, because doing this, you remember a piece comes from here and it rolls across. If that piece rolled across, that positions itself correctly. If it was this one, I would have to turn that to the back. When it rolled across, you can see that it has not positioned itself correctly. So I go, that's going to go to there. Let's put that in. Up, right 2, up prime, left 2, and repeat. Okay, let's not worry about getting it back to cuboid shape. It'll all come back when they're all done. That's that yellow-green. Now I've got just one on this face, and you remember that for the corner piece series I always use one on the top face, two on the bottom. So I'm now going to turn it over so that that one is on the top face, and I'm going to start solving these pieces on the bottom. That one's done. Let's see if I can maybe deal with the white-green. Well, there's that white-green piece on the top. So I'll set that up, turn it into a position there, and again I can see that that is the correct piece. It'll come around and place properly there. Away we go. All done. The white green's in position. What have I got left? I've got that white blue done, that white green done. I've got two here. What about up the top? Let's just put things back, have a look. Up the top, those two are done. These two are done. Now that means I've only got two to complete. If I had three to complete, all that it would mean is I'd find the third piece up here, and I would use that third piece and these two to do a corner piece series to cycle them home. Very simple. This is slightly more involved, but not much. When you've only got two to do, and you can tell that because the white blue is going to go in place there, and that white green is going to go in place there. So definitely two to swap. How do we deal with that? Well, all we want to do is turn an upper face one turn. That's it. One turn 90 degrees, and now go and resolve these 4 edges. So the first thing I'll do is I'll move the white blue to here and then have this as my third piece on the bottom. So 2 setup moves like that. Now cycle these 3 pieces. Like so. Let's undo that setup move and we'll see what we've got. I've cycled home the white blue, I cycled home the white orange. Now I've got the white red and the white green to swap. Well, the beauty of this is there's no middle layer here, so I just turn the white green underneath the white red, swap, and again undo those setup moves. So you'll notice that to fix the problem I did 1 turn and then I used an even number of turns to go about resolving. So that's done. Now at this stage that's put a few of the corners out, so I'll just go and redo some of those corners. So what have we got? Well, let's see if I can maybe, what have we got up the top? White green. Got this white green here. Now I can tell that if I place it back in that position, that is going to come down and place correctly there. So that I'll now do that to here as my 3 pieces. So I'm doing an anti-clockwise corner piece series now. Here we go. At any time you can move these back just to keep your bearings. So the white green is done. I've still got 3 on here to go. I wonder if I can do the white blue. Where's that? It's not this white blue because that wouldn't correctly come down, so it's actually this white blue here. So what I'm going to do is turn that white blue, which is on the back, turn the back face to place it in the correct position to place here. Having done that, you can see it's placed the white blue. I'll return the back face setup. What have we got now? 1, 2, 3. And all the others are done. And you remember that the problem we had was that we had 2 to swap. So the fix for that, as you recall, turning that face, one face, resolving edges, resolving corners. But now I've got 3. So I've got this white green that needs to roll across to here. You can see that that'll do it. Which means if these are my 2 pieces, this third piece must be at the back there to come down to that position. Like that. Undo any setups. Let's have a look what we've got. Ignoring the centers, they come at the end. We look around and all of this stuff in the middle is completely done. Looking around here, all of that is completely done, and that leads us to our final stage, which is placing these corners. Now the good news is there's it's an algorithm involving this corner piece series, and you'll see it. There's a couple of setups in there as well, but it's still fairly straightforward. So what we're going to do is look to cycle 3 pieces, white, orange, blue. I want the pieces to be 180 degrees apart. Now it's possible that they won't be, and there will be a fix for that as well. So where that white, orange, blue, that's got to go to here. So as a setup, I might turn that front face because I'm looking for that white, orange, blue at the top to cycle down to here. And you can see that would now do that. I then want a piece from here to that front left and the back, what do you call that? Back, right, down position. They are the 3 positions, and that back, right, down will actually go and place in that position. So they are the 3 pieces that are going to be involved in this. Once you've got your 3 pieces set up, ready to go, here's what we do. To go this direction, a corner piece series for cuboids. Then we want to turn front, or front 2, right 2, front 2. Now we then want to do an anti-clockwise corner piece series for cuboids. But before we do that, we'll do an upturn as a setup. Now we can go anti-clockwise, You remember that we did an upturn for setup, so we'll undo that upturn. We also did a front 2, right 2, front 2, so we'll undo that front 2, right 2, front 2. And the last thing, we did have a setup of this front face right at the start. So we do that. Let's take stock. You can see that white, green, red has been placed and the white, blue, orange has been placed. We were able to place 2 corners at that time, which was great. In fact, did we even get that third one? I don't know, I can't even remember now. So we'll have a look again and see if there's another one that's in this up, back, left position that we can look at, and there aren't. So now we'll check for the up, right, back position and see what's going on there. At this stage there's 4 corners left. There's a couple of possibilities. One possibility is that they're just going to cycle home. The other possibility is that we'll have 2 swaps. Let's see if we've got that here. Yellow, green, red has to go to the white, green, orange, and the white, green, orange has to go here. So these 2 corners have to swap, and what are the other 2? These 2 blue corners have to swap. Beautiful. I was hoping this would happen, and it has. And again, I don't know if this is a parity or not, but this is how we're going to do it. I want you to imagine that all the 2 swaps of the corners were on this face here. In other words, these 2 had to swap and these 2 had to swap. How would I place those corners? Well, if I wanted to get that to here and that to here and that to here and that to here, I would turn that face 180 degrees. So that is my first part of the fix. You'll notice then that I have 2 of these outers that are now out of kilter, and to deal with that I now turn just the inner slice, and from here that has actually fixed that problem. What I need to do from here is to resolve back to the position where I had these outer corners, and the resolving is precisely the same as what we've done in the past. So it's a very easy fix, but it will take a few minutes to do it. So I'll probably start doing that and skip through back to the point where we're at. But you remember the same routine. I would say, well, the blues and the greens are still done. I've got to get the whites and yellows. Maybe I'll just go through it really quickly. I don't know. Let's get the whites to there. It doesn't matter what it comes back to at the moment. I'll turn that off. Now when we get back to this and we have resolved all this stuff and adjust back to the outer corners, from a 2 plus 2 swap, we'll probably find that we have 6 corners needing to be solved. If we look at this, we can see that 2 of them are in place, the other 6 are not. So I'll look again for this line. White, blue, orange has got to go to here. Yellow, blue, red, where's that got to go? To this one. So I'll turn that to the back, and that means the yellow, green, orange will go to here. So that'll 3 cycle those home. So we carry out our corner piece series like that. Then we do our front 2, right 2, front 2 with an upturn. Then we do an anti-clockwise corner piece series. Undo the setup, front 2, right 2, front 2, and let's have a look what we've got now. We've got those done, and we've got, in fact, now 1, 2, 3 corners remaining, and these 3 corners will be on the other side. So instead of going from here down to here, it's going to go from here to here. So we'll try and find 2 that go into position, or 1 that rolls. So the white, red, blue is going to roll down to here. That's good. The yellow, blue, orange needs to go to this one, and the 3rd corner will be placed in the back left position. So I turn that around to that back left position so it's ready to come up to there. So we've got our 3 corners ready to cycle. So how do we do it on this side? It's the exact mirror of the one I just showed you. So it's an anti-clockwise corner piece series. First of all, now a front 2, left 2, front 2, and then because we're going to do a clockwise corner piece series, we do a setup of a U prime, so, undo that setup, undo the front 2, left 2, front 2, and then undo any previous setups, which was just this face here. And you can see, having done that, all of our corners are now in place. Now, that leads us to the very quick and very final last section, which is these centres. Hopefully you can see the reason I've left them, and that is because when we had the 2+2 swap, what we ended up doing, we turned this face first of all, and then we turned this slice, and you can see that turning that slice changes what's going on in the centre. Sometimes it'll look exactly the same, sometimes it will be, depending on where these other pieces are, it may change around these centre pieces. So there really is no point doing it until the end, until right now. It is super simple. You'll never guess what we're going to use. That's right, the corner piece series for cuboids. How do we do it? Well, we say this is going to be the yellow face, so I want to get a yellow piece into here. I'm going to cycle 3 centres pure. It's going to go from here. Where's that one going to travel if it goes down to the bottom face? It's going to travel to that position. That position is going to travel across to there. You can see it turn there. And that third one is going to come up to the top. So at this stage, the white will go to that white will go to there, and that yellow will come up to the top. So really all I need to think about is I want the piece that goes on the other face in the upper left position, the piece that's coming up in the lower right position, like that. And now I do a corner piece series and I just turn the slices. So that right 2, but just the slice, and an upper turn, and now a left 2, but just the slice. Upper turn and just the right 2 slice, upper turn, just the left 2 slice. Look what's happened. Nothing has changed except these centre pieces. The last one got the wrong colour in the up left, need the correct colour that's got to come up in the lower right, so I just turn that there as a setup, carry it out again. And that is all done. I hope that's helped. My camera battery's blinking at me. That is the 2x4x6 cuboid. Appreciate it if you've watched all the way through. Have fun with your own, and thanks for watching.